Hey guys, Alex Kinter here. Welcome to a Kinter Media tutorial on DaVinci Resolve. So I've been getting some requests lately about walking through DaVinci and kind of just getting set up for the first time and kind of just showing where some things are to where you can get a workflow started even if you're brand new to DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks and quirks that I've learned over the last couple of years in transitioning into DaVinci Resolve from Premiere, and even before that I was in Final Cut, and what I've done to kind of get into the DaVinci Resolve workflow and optimizing it to where it's second nature for me to edit and deliver projects to clients on a consistent basis. We're not going to dive into just some footage really just yet into editing another project. That's for another video coming up. But I do want to get just the project settings started and show you around a little bit. So alright, let's get DaVinci Resolve booted up. So I'm using a Mac Pro, just the older trash can. It's just a really fun, nostalgic system. It does work fairly well. It has two graphics cards, which DaVinci Resolve does utilize, which is nice. So I'm using Monterey, and we got 128 gigs, so we can do longer videos. Graphics cards it shows here, but there's two of them, so it's really 12 gigs total. If you go to System Report, here it'll show you graphics displays. Boom, there's two of them, see? And they're both 6 gig. Okay, and if any of you are on the trash can Mac Pro, there are some limitations to it, but it's still a fairly good system, even in 2024. I do have a really fast Windows computer, but I do find myself going back to this occasionally. So okay, that was a plugin I was installing earlier. Okay. Okay, so right now I've opened up DaVinci Resolve. It's finding all my new plugins. Okay. And okay, so this is the app I recommend to you if you are using the trash can, or even like a buddy of mine has a laptop that I have too, and I was telling him about cranking up the fans all the way to where your computer doesn't slow down. So it's TG Pro. Let's see, hit T. Okay, so TG Pro. Go and download that. It's cheap. It's like $5 or $10 or something like that. And then you'll get this handy toolbar up here, and you can set it up to where your computer loads up, it automatically cranks the fans all the way. That way it doesn't have to kick in at a certain temperature, and you can set up custom cooling curve. So like the one that's built into Apple is not the greatest, so that's why I suggest that. Okay, there we go, that's all done. I had just installed a ton of new plugins, and they're getting loaded up, so all right. So okay, see if you could hear me better. There you go. All right, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so we've got the fans cranking. You want to just go ahead and just start that before. Okay, So we're just gonna call this real estate video 1, but we're gonna do a brand new project. We'll go into this later in another video. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and crank your fans all the way up. See, right here is where this is by the default right here, and then it doesn't turn them on like as it gets hotter until it's too late by default, and then your computer's already slowing down. So go ahead and just crank them, and then start DaVinci, and then boom, we're in DaVinci. So this is kind of where you prep your project right here. You create a new project, which I like this much better than Final Cut, because Final Cut, it's just event based and it just gets really messy. And you can import projects within projects, and you can hide all kind of toolbars and stuff. So here you can just see the and if you want to separate your projects by company or group them in a certain way, you can create new libraries here, project database. So like internal projects, external projects, client projects, marketing projects, however you want to, sort them, you can do it this way. Okay. And yeah, so let's go ahead and you can just hit new project right here, and then boom. Okay, untitled project. Let's just do DaVinci tutorial walk through 1 or something like that, or V1, however you like to. I usually, with the renders, I usually do the V1, V2, V3, and then like V1 revised if the client revised it, or V1 updated if I made a small incremental change before going to another version. So, but for this, let's just call this 1. All right, so here we are. We're in the main screen. I have, let me bring back my light here. 1 second, turn that off. Okay, I have the second display mounted above my screen up here. You guys can't see that, but I just have like a window open on Google, and it's shining a light so you guys can see me. So I had the secondary monitor set up on that, and so I can show you, so I can see a full screen of the timeline. Okay, but there's no timeline set up or anything right now, so I just went black. So I just went ahead and turned that off right here. So if you have a dual monitor display set up, you just go to workspace and you select here, and you'll get your clean video feed full screen, so you can see more detail as you're editing. All right, so we're here in the main. This is how it opens up, and this is my personal workflow. You can mess around however you want to do. I'm not telling you how you should do your things, but this is how I like to work, and it's just I keep it straightforward. Personally, I don't use the cut tab at all. Okay, neither the media tab really. I just like to keep it how it is, kind of like in Premiere. I don't like to go in there and do all that. So for me personally, I just use the edit tab. I very rarely go into Fusion. Once in blue moon I do go in there, and this is more like After Effects. Okay, so I do use edit. I do a lot of color, and then Fairlight is really good for the audio, and then the deliver tab. So so we'll be sticking to these 4 tabs here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out of this screen, because I don't really like the way this works in here. It just gets kind of confusing, and you don't get all the tools that you do in editing, so might as well just go into the edit tab. All right, we're in the edit tab, and so for the best workflow, the best practices that I've seen and I do practice myself is just go ahead and creating your bins or folders that you're going to use throughout the project. That way, just do it one time and at the beginning, and then you don't have to do it again, and you can just drag and drop right in there. So just go ahead and under this master right here, either one of these, you can right click and hit bin. And I like to do it in all caps, that way it's easier to click on, easier to see and just glance at. So let's do all caps for all intents and purposes. Okay, let's see, footage, and then just hit enter, footage, and then just do another one here, and we're going to call this one music, and then we're going to call this one audio. Okay, and then we're going to call this one sound effects. Okay, and we're going to call this motion effects. Okay, and then we're going to call this one voice over. Okay, if there's any extra voice or ADR or anything like that, you could have one called ADR if you want to do that. But I like a little bit longer names, so it's easier to click on and you can just click. So footage, music, audio, sound effects, motion effects. So motion graphics, like rendered comps out of After Effects, you can drag and drop those in there. Logos is a good one. Your bumpers, your client logos, or however you want to put some other graphics in there that are not necessarily motion graphics, or if they are motion graphics but they have logos, then it may be easier to just put them in there too. So logos. Let's see what else. Do me a favor and hit like and subscribe to the channel if you're liking so far, and also comment down below what bins or folders you use, and we can discuss. So let's just stick to these. These are the, I guess, main ones we'll be concentrating on. So let's do this. And if there's another one that pops up as we go, like, for example, we don't always use voiceover or logos, but these are generally what we're going to use, most common. At least get these right here done: footage, music, audio, sound effects, motion, and that's it for now. All right. So, and then under footage, you can do, if you just have one camera, just drop it all in there, just do camera _A, and that's how I've seen it done professionally for years. Industry standard, cam A or camera _A, like that. So you could do B-roll, boom, and then obviously do cam B if you got another camera, and then cam C if you got another camera. And then if you if you just have one camera and you just have a ton of days, it's a big project, then just do card 1, or even do day 1. However you want to organize it, but generally I do like to know which camera and all that, and that's more standard, but you know your project better than I do, so just go ahead and do what works best for you. But if you do plan on sharing the project file with anyone else and stuff, make sure your folders are done and organized, and make sure you stick to the cam A and cam B and cam C if you're going to send this to an editor or anything like that, because that's more standard, and it's easier to understand if someone else gets the project, a hold of the project for any reason. All right, so that's for the most part there. Music. sound effects, and you can create more folders in here for all the different type of sound effects. And just organize them that way. Audio is for your, your dialogue, or event audio, just your off-board, off-camera audio, whatever device you're recording on. Your sound guy recorded on, a Zoom H6 or sound devices, or any other fancy recording devices, or anything like that. So okay, let's go ahead and get started. Camera A, boom, boom. All right. So usually you'll start here, get your A roll, and then you're going to click and drag. So let's go ahead and find some footage. So this is let's see, we're going to use so we've got Ninja footage, which is a higher bit, and then we've got the Sony S-Log2 footage. So let's see. Let's just start off with this one. Let's see a shot or two we could drop in here. Okay. Load up thumbnails. Okay, let's just do one of these here. Okay. Just hit OK on that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Maybe this one. Okay, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Just kind of a establishing shot, This one, this is more like a B-roll, but if your shoot is just basically B-roll, like in this case, this is like a real estate video, then yeah, camera B or B-roll, whatever works for you. So let's go ahead and so we're not going to use the audio for this. So notice, I'm scrubbing through here, and you can hear the audio. So just click one time on there, and then see this thumbnail film strip. This will just drag the video down. Boom. Okay. All right, there you go. So now we've got a clip in here. And before we get too far ahead into this, let's set up the project correctly. So let's see. I just want to trim this down a little bit. Just, we got a good start here. So, framing wise, I don't really like this crack and these, I guess just like gum or something on the sidewalk. Alright, so let's just start like here or something like that. So I'm just clicking and dragging this cursor. Click this and see this little thing that pops up like this, and then so you click that and just drag it here, boom, and you got yourself a cut. Sometimes it's easier to drag than just to cut, your preference. So boom, boom. All right, and then a lot of people ask me, how do you do the fades and transitions and all that in DaVinci, and dude, it's way more simple. So just click here, and these little dots just come up. You could just fade this like this, boom, and you got yourself a fade. Look at that. Okay, and you can taper it off, so however you want. There you go. Okay, let's see. Music, and then I'm going to show you how to do a fade with a song. So here, just click and drag right here. Boom, boom. Ooh, that's loud. So let's just click and drag this down here. Okay, let's turn this down a bit. So this is how you change the volume on an audio clip. It's so much easier than other programs. So just hover over the middle line and you get these two triangles. You click and then drag down, and then right there it shows you the dBs, how much you're turning it down or turning it up. So, all right, and then same thing as the clip, this little white dot that appears. Just click this, boom, and then that's how you do the fade. And you even get this little dot right here, and you can adjust your fade how you want. You want it to come in a little stronger. You want it to, take a little more time for the volume to kick in. So let's just do it like this. Let's see what happens. Okay. And I'm just hitting the space bar to get the cursor to play. There we go. Just kind of have a feel, like, the music's kicking in, and just play with the footage and just slide the clips around to where, you're getting a good feel of the sense of timing. So I think the second take would have been better. So there we go. So let's start here then, maybe. There you go. I did 2 takes on that one clip, so let's try that. I think this is better. Okay, so I don't really want to see this gimbal, so I'm gonna cut before this. Alright, so now we have the clip placed on here. We've got some fades going. Let's dive into the workflow a little bit more. Just kind of, again, walking you guys through the program. So we've so far established how we're going to organize our files on here, and we're not in the editing tab. So let me show you a couple other things that you're going to want to know if you're diving into DaVinci Resolve for the first time. So you're going to want the mixer open here, and you can turn off all of these and just get as much real estate you want in the timeline. Alright, so if you want to be able to use the whole width of your screen, you can do that. It's very easy. And then whenever you want the functions back, you can just bring back what you need. So here's the effects panel, and everybody's wanting to know that. And then, if you bring up the media pool, it just automatically sorts, and then you can adjust the width, so I usually will have my setup like this, and yeah, so here we have our transitions. And first starting out, I really suggest just going through and starring and hitting favorites on the stuff you're going to be using, so you're not looking for it all the time, because it's so annoying. So let's do that real quick. So let me show you some really useful effects and transitions and stuff that's already pre-built into DaVinci. So, and here's your favorites panel right here. You can do that. So let's start off with just video transitions. Here's your basic cross dissolve. Star that, uh, dip to a color. So if you want to fade to white or any other color, you can. Additive dissolve, if you want that. I don't really use those as much as often. Just mainly these. Sometimes a smooth cut. Alright, so let's go to transition here. Let's just do the 0 fade. Sometimes I'll use these, but let's for the case now, let's not have those in it. Let's not clutter up this favorites too much. If you need to add a little more gain to the transition, you can, or remove some gain, then you can. Okay, it's titles. Just you can install different titles into DaVinci just like you can in any other program. Right now I don't have it much installed, just the default stuff. Generator, sometimes you want a solid color for background purposes, logos, certain type of cuts and transitions and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna do solid color there. Alright, effects. So here's a ton of different stuff. And once you're into the color tab, there's more effects on there, and you can make them node based. But for now, let's just do the timeline effects. Alright. Adjusted clip. You're familiar with that in Premiere. So let's do that. I don't really use it a ton, but there are cases where I do want it, and it is very handy to have. Alright, so we're done with that for now. So here's more effects. Alright, so Gaussian blur, I do use that every now and then for blurring out the background and different stuff like that. Alright, and these will be useful in the color pane right here in the color tab. So color space transform is very important. Color stabilizer is nice if you got some funky color going on from inside the sensor or the chute. It is really resource draining, so I would rather have an infrared filter or something like that just to stabilize the color when you're capturing stuff. So it's a lot easier than having to use this. Okay. So let's see, scrolling down now. I don't really need any of that right now. For any keying, I think still After Effects is the best. And for motion graphics, I still use After Effects, although you can use Fusion, but I really haven't gone too much into that. I'm just going to stick with After Effects. I'm much faster at that, and it's really good, especially if you have Element 3D activated and stuff like that. Okay, so halation is nice, give it a certain kind of look sometimes. Light rays can be useful, but the stuff that you could, in these effects, it's going to really drain your computer. So make sure you have a really fast computer if you're going to just pile on effects and stuff like that. It does start really draining resources pretty quick. Beauty filters are really awesome, so that's good. Alright, deflicker, so if you shot some funky ambient lighting, some fluorescence or vapor lights or whatever, just random street lights, if any flickering is going on at all in the frame, this will get rid of it most of the time. Not 100% of the time, but it does help. Most of the time it'll completely take it out, but if it doesn't, then it'll minimize it. Okay, I'm going to close some of these programs out. It's starting to get kind of There we go. Okay. So I don't really deal with too much banding these days or anything like that, but if you do have some banding issues, all right. Moving on now. So let's go ahead and we're going to save the noise reduction. I do use that. Let's see, sharpen. We want that. Let's see, vignette. Yes. Tilt shift blur. Yes. That's nice. Film grain, definitely. And again, this is I have the studio version, the full studio version, so if you just have the free version, you won't be able to use some of these effects. Like film grain, you won't be able to use film grain. Some of these really intense effects, you won't be able to use. FYI, that is the difference. Alright, moving on. I don't need any of these. Okay. That's pretty much it on that one. Alright, so let's... Okay, so we're done there. Okay, so I do have a lot of plugins installed for audio. So I have the universal audio plugins, I have the Spark subscription, and then I have some other universal audio plugins that are standalone, that are not part of Spark. And I do have Isotope by Native Instruments. So UAD, Universal Audio. Alright. So there's just, as you can see, there's tons of stuff. There's tons of VSTs. But if you don't have VSTs, there are still really good stuff built into Fairlight. So, you know, de-esser you may want. Let's see. Noise reduction. Because Isotope and all that, you know, it can start adding up. Noise reduction, multiband compressor. That's, you know, stereo width. That's about it. You know, dehummer, you may want that. Alright. So, I'm going to highlight a couple of the UAD ones that I do use. There's a whole another video I could do just about the workflow for audio, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I am going to find some of the stuff that I do use regularly. And as you can see, I have the UA Connect open here, and here's the universal audio. Here's my universal audio and my DSP, and here's the console. So there we go, more compact, and there we go. This is the recording level for the video right now. Okay, so alright, let's go ahead and find these plugins that I use. Man, there are just so many in here, and I don't have all of these, just so you know, but they are on the computer. Some of them are not activated, so but a lot of them are. So let me just alright, so right now let's just search and see what we can find. UAD Neve pre. Neve. Preamp, this one. This is the one I'm looking for. Preamp and EQ. Boom. All right. That's a really good one. Can get a lot of different sounds out of that. Let's do the Capitol Chambers mastering compressor. Let's do that. Okay. Let's do the Pultec. Yes. EQ. And that's right here. This one. Okay. Let's do Vox. The Manly Vox Box channel strip. Okay. Let's do the massive passive EQ. Oh, this is a really good one. Bark of Dog. Bark. Oh. Oh, I guess I don't have that one right now on this one. But it's basically a version of this. This one, I don't have this one, so I have a different one that's similar. So that's Voice of God versus Bark of Dog. So, okay, I don't have Bark of Dog on here yet, but I will. And let's see. Maybe I'm missing anything. Let's see if we have Shadow. I think I have Shadow Hills on here now. Yeah, Shadow Hills. Mastering compressor. No, I should have Brainworks. I guess I don't have it on here. Okay, I thought I did, but all right. And the API Vision channel strip. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Well, just for general purposes, that's for the most part, that's all really I'm using. Don't want to over edit the audio. Okay, just little touches here and there with certain plugins. Here's the LA2A, LA3A. Let's go ahead and add those. LA2A, LA3A, Hitsville, oh, let's put the Studer. Okay, Studer, A800. There we go. That's a good one. Okay, all right. I think I'm pretty much done. Okay, that's enough. There we go. Now we got a good favorites list built in, so we don't have to go hunt. Because I mean, look how much time it's taking just to go and find these in here. And so if you're doing it one at a time, it just adds up like a ton of time. So you only have to do this once, all right, and then it'll stay in there. Sometimes there are issues where you have to redo your favorites, but it's very hardly. I think it happened to me like once, and okay, well, just bring them back. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think that's it. Okay, let's see if we have some what's it called? Isotope. don't see the isotope stuff in here. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and save our project. Okay. All right, so we've got most of our stuff in here. All right, so you can click and drag this out, see the rest of your mixer. Once you have more channels, you can see more of your mixer. Here's your clipping levels, and you'll see it here. You'll see the red right there. Okay, so here's your inspector window. So if we're clicking on a video clip, you can just click here, and now this activates this part of the window. You can do your cropping here. All right, so you can zoom in and fill the frame. So like this, click it, and you can just crop in there, and then if you want to adjust how it's cropped in, just move the position on the sliders here, like so, however you want. Okay, and then if you want a specific crop on some kind of edit you're doing, you can do here, adjust it here and adjust these sliders here. And you can time all of these out. These are all keyframes. So once you click on this, you can time out pretty much anything in here. So just like that. And then if you want to just reset it, just click this guy. You know, these right here. Boom, reset, reset. All right. So, and let's say most of the time, even if you are using a gimbal, or a slider, sometimes it's nice to go ahead and stabilize the footage anyway, even though it's for the most part already stable. So I did use a gimbal on this. This is on the A7R2, and we're using the Ninja on this one. And let's go ahead and add some stabilization to it. So let's click the clip, stabilization right here, and you have to play around with it. Sometimes this is better, sometimes this is better, sometimes this one's better. Alright, so just test them out on your footage. So let's try translation first. Okay, because we've got a lot of camera movement going on, and it's not just one type of camera movement. Either translation will work on this, I'm thinking, or similarity, because if your shot's fairly similar all the way around the edges, or the motion is similar, like just the move is very, not all over the place, is predictable, then similarity might work the best. So let's try translation first. So increase the smoothness here, about so. You don't go too crazy with it, but on some shots you want to crank it. So just, it all depends on your shot. This is already fairly smooth, so I don't need a whole lot. So go ahead and hit stabilize. Alright, we've got stabilization running on this clip. There we go. Alright, let's play it from the beginning and see what happens. Well, I'm going to turn this audio down. This is the main audio here, so you guys aren't blasted too loud. Okay, so right off the bat I can tell it's not that great. It's already bouncing and all that. It's not smoothing out certain stuff. So let's try similarity. Turn up a little bit more. Hit stabilize again. Okay, let's try this. Okay, I'm not satisfied just yet. Let's do perspective and just see what's going on with this clip. So you just got to try them all. Oh, see, yeah, that's not, okay, that's not going to be. Let's try translation and just crank it up more. Okay, I don't think that. Let's try this one. Okay. It's better. I'm not sure. It may be just better without it, honestly. I don't like how it's doing it. Okay, let's just go ahead and turn it off. Let's see. Sometimes it's like that, you know. The stabilization, it's already stable enough. Let's just do similarity and just turn it way down. Okay, just barely any stabilization on. Maybe it's overdoing it. Okay, that is better. Let's try translation. Okay, honestly, I like it better off. It's just doing too much. All right, so it looks like I did a good job on that one. You know, it's not, and also it's not that I did that great of a job. It's just that I selected my in and out points on this particular clip good. So that way I know I'm getting the most stable shot. It's clean from start to finish. There's no jerking movements, subtle jerking movements, or anything like that. And it cuts right before you can see the gimbal all the way. All right, so let's just go, walk through the platform a little bit more. So let's go ahead and jump in to some of these menu items up here, and then we'll go and hit color. All right, so up here we got playback. Okay, so yeah, let's just go over the project settings real quick. All right, so we've got file, project settings. So we're working in 1080. You know, this is 4K footage, but when you're working in DaVinci Resolve, it is very resource draining, so don't kill your computer. Your computer will thank you, and it won't overheat and get slow. So let's keep it in 1080, and then when you're ready to export and deliver and render out, then change everything to 4K and pre-render everything in 4K. And you know, I'll show you how to generate optimized media, and then you can export, and your exports will be much quicker if you do it this way with no crashes or anything like that. So I already have my defaults set up on here, so go ahead, and if you're on a Mac, this is what I suggest right here. Right here. Proxy media resolution half. Proxy media format at ProRes 422 proxy. Optimized media resolution, so when you generate optimized media, it maintains the highest level of quality, so it'll be the original resolution. And optimized media format, so whenever you hit generate optimized media, it'll be in this ProRes 422 HQ, which is really high quality. And render cache format, so this is, you know, when we're not even needing to use the render cache right now. It's playing really well on the Mac because, you know, we're in ProRes. It's playing really well on the Mac because we're on ProRes, so you know, you don't need to do a lot of pre-rendering just yet. But as your project and your timeline grows, the render cache will kick in, and you'll need to start pre-rendering some. It will let you play back most of the time and still in real time, depending on your system. But to get the most accurate, you know, color and transitions and stuff like that, you want to go ahead and pre-render every once in a while. You know, you make some progress on your project, and then eventually you take a break and pre-render so you can see what you've done. And you know, it's normal, and that's just part of the workflow. So, but your render cache format will be lower quality, so LT, a step above proxy. so you still have some good quality footage. But whenever you're ready to render out and deliver, you can generate optimized media and pre-render, and that'll make your output so much more fast. All right, it'll be a lot faster. So, and whenever you pre-render, it automatically, well, not automatically, but there's a setting I'll show you where it will pre-render the color, all the color changes and you've done in the node-based color editing system here, and it'll take those into account. And you can pre-render audio and the effects and stuff like that too. So that'll be a big part of the workflow later on. But for now, make sure this is set up like this. And if you have a Windows machine, this will be different because it won't be ProRes. It'll be like DPX files. But they do have HQ, and you'll know that the level of quality, and just try to stick to this. That way you're not overusing your system in the short term, and your workflow is being delayed because you have it on crazy quality settings you don't really need until you're ready to preview your project without skipping any frames, or with the most color accuracy, or render. So, all right, moving on. Now, under working folders, make sure these are on your fastest drive available, and that way your DaVinci will operate at the best speed, the fastest speed for your computer. Because if you were to put these locations on a slow drive, let's say you do have a slower SSD or even a disk drive, then your playback might be affected. So go ahead and make sure these are on the fastest drive possible. You don't want to have these on an external or anything like that. Just anything that's really fast and attached to the system internally would be ideal. All right, so make sure you guys are in 10-bit. You get in the highest bitrate color, okay? And always pay attention to this. You got 23976 is your frame rate here, okay? All right, so anything here, and so a lot of people don't know that the way the DaVinci Resolve works, it automatically knows what kind of footage you have. It reads your files, okay? It reads your metadata. It knows, hey, this is raw footage from XYZ camera, okay? It knows it's red. It knows it's ARRI or ARRI. It knows it's Canon. It knows it's the Pocket 4K. It knows these cameras, okay? And so you don't need to change the input color space later on. It's just you're working in DaVinci Resolve Color Science, and it's a very intelligent color space. All right, so let's go here. Don't really need to change anything here. Okay, camera. I know this says ARRI, but this is just the default. This is the ARRI profile here. You don't need to mess with this, okay? DaVinci knows what camera you're using, what RAW. So this will just create more issues with the way the software works. Just don't even mess with this, okay? All right, playback. So your playback is in here at a good quality, okay? And it's 10-bit, all right, all good. Okay, max characters per line. For me personally, when I'm doing captions, I think 30 works for me. Okay. And let's pretty much it. All right. For now. So go ahead and hit save. Oh no, hold on, sorry, don't hit save yet. Okay, so now if you've got all this all set up, go ahead and go do yourself a favor and save some time later on. Because if you don't do this, you're gonna have to set this up every single time, and again, it'll take up a lot of time. So just go up here to these three dots and set current settings as default preset. So I've already done that. That's why I didn't have to go through here and do these. But this will look a lot different to you if you're brand new to DaVinci Resolve. So go ahead and do that, and then click this, and boom, you're set up for, until you have another preset or you want to change it. So whenever you're ready to render in 4K, you will have to go back in here. You will have to go back in here and change this to 4K right here. And then you'll have to pre-render and then generate optimized media and then export. Okay, so let's go to preferences real quick. All right, and again, make sure your storage is on the fastest drive possible. Don't put it on a slow drive if you want to operate at the highest speed in DaVinci, which you will, because it does use a lot of resources. All right, so by default this will be clicked on. You probably want to turn this off unless you have an M2 Ultra or something like that, or M3 Ultra, the new M1 chips. Then you can have this on, but if you don't, then you want that off. All right, so okay, input device, make sure you have your input and outputs set up. So for me, I have the Universal Audio Apollo Twin Mark II, so I'm going to select those. Okay, and here's audio plugins. Okay, so RX, that's where it's under. It's under RX. All right. All right, so that's pretty much it. You can set up your upload profiles here if you want, and then make sure your video cards, just leave it on auto, just make sure they're all listed here, and you're using the most memory you can without bogging down your computer operating system. So here you can change your backups, and that's yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this preferences panel. All right, so moving on, I'm going to go ahead and add these RX to my favorites. Well, I just found out that's what it's called in here, RX. Huh, it's not showing up. Weird. Okay. What happened? UID just took over and it's all my stuff's not even here. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to the color panel. So let's go ahead and click on the color space here. And so we've got our one shot in here. All right, so let's move on to the color panel. And so I've got the color panel activated here in this tab, and we're going to go ahead and get our template set up for our node-based editing system. So there's a lot of space over here. Let's just move this over and get more space here, because once you click here, you're going to limit your space. So that way that doesn't happen. You can also zoom in and out to get more space. So let's do that. Okay, because this won't go farther in. There we go. That's as far as it goes. So, all right. So on Windows and Mac, it'll be a little bit different, but on Mac, it is the Option key and S, and then Option and P will be the keys that we're using here to create our template. And we'll save our template that way you don't have to do this every time. You can just export your template and then drag and drop it, or import it, or just apply it to each of your clips in projects. So all right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just hit Option S and create another node. Option S and create another node, another node, another node, another node, and you'll see how I'll arrange it here, and it'll make sense to you. All right, so this point is the very beginning of this point here is the very beginning of an image. So, and this is the very end of the image, as far as the series of compiled processing. So think of it as a Lightroom in your processing film. The first thing you're going to want to do are the basic things, and then more advanced, and then finishing things at the end. Okay, so like for instance, you want to know your paper, stock, and grain. That'll affect from the very beginning of your image how it's going to turn out. Okay, so and then then we'll do like white balance and exposure, and in that order. Just think of it in that way. That way your image maintains as much integrity as possible, and you're going to have a really good looking color grade when you're done. So if you do it in other orders, it's just not going to turn out the best. It's not going to turn out the same as if you would do it this way. So just trust me, I've done a lot of research on this, and this workflow is scalable to if you want to do dynamic range or do Netflix or anything like that. You can always go back in here and change your color settings, and you'll be able to get into those different color spaces fairly easily. So let's start off with labeling, or let's start off with organizing our nodes down. We've got all these nodes. So make this the final node. We're going to make it to go in this order here. All right. All right, and these are just being linked, but you can arrange them in any way you want, but this is just how I do it. And so let's add another one here. Okay. That way we have a good shape for our template. So that way, it looks nice every time you pull it up. Okay. There we go. So they're all linked, and no matter where they're at, and I'll go into more detail as we go about what all these boxes mean and arrows and stuff. Okay, so let's start off with our basic image, raw image. Just think you're in the color, you're in the dark room, okay, in your film lab. All right, so let's go ahead and name all our buckets. So like, let's say you're processing all these chemicals. You're going to want to label each bin you're putting your image to process your negative. Okay, so first thing, pick your grain or noise level. Okay, your paper stock. So we're going to call this grain, either NR grain, noise reduction / grain, or grain / NR. Okay, I think this looks better, right? Grain, NR / grain. Okay, so you're either going to reduce noise at the very beginning, or you're going to add some noise or grain. So DaVinci has some really great grain presets for Super 35, anything you want, really. So we'll go into that. Let's just label them all, that way we know how we're going to work in the color space. So this one, let's do the next thing. Okay, white balance. And you want to separate these out because, again, you will break up the image. If you pile on too many effects, too many changes on one node, you're going to overload that node, okay, and overload the image, and it's not going to do what you want, okay? So you got to space them out. So this one, let's do white balance, okay, white balance, WB. Okay, and I usually do white balance / exposure. So let's just do white balance / exposure. Okay, and then let's do this as pre-log. Let's call this pre-log. Okay, and then we'll do this as a you can call this look or LUT, okay, because this is where your look is going to go, right in the middle of your chain, okay? So you can either call this look or LUT, okay? And then, to do certain type of color correction, you want to, on this specific node, wherever you apply your main LUT, you want to do a parallel color mixer, okay? And how you do that is Option P. So on Windows it'll be Control P. So let's do Option P. Boom, there's your parallel node. So you want to do this a couple times. Sometimes you want to isolate certain changes within the color, and you have to do it at the same time that you're doing your LUT to get the best outcome. So let's go ahead and do another one. And so like this one, we'll just call this one, if you want to do a skin adjustment, this is where you do it. Skin adjust, okay? And let's call this, let's see, you want to adjust a certain background. Let's just call this background adjust, okay? All right. So moving on now. So this is your primary, secondary, okay. All right, let's make a little bit more space here. Okay, so the text isn't so piled on. You'll appreciate this whenever you're putting it into a brand new project file and it's already all set up for you. So let's do, and then here is just going to be your, let's do this as log, okay, and let's do this as your global adjustment, okay, and then we'll do this as final adjustment, and then we'll do this as CST LUT, and I'll show you how to do that. And that's your color space transform LUT. All right. And then this is your okay, no, actually let's just change this to we're gonna do this as black let's be where you'll crush your blacks at the very end, okay? And then here is your CST LUT. So because this is their final step, and this is how your color is going to look in your preferred color space at the very end. So that way you can change this, and then you'll be good to go. All right, so that's pretty much it. So you may want another node be in here. Yeah, so let's do this and drag this out just a little bit more. So again, I know this is small here, but if you have a second monitor, this will look huge in the other monitor. So right now we just need this going on. Okay, perfect. Now click this one and then hit Option S and then bring this here. Perfect. All right, there we go. Okay, now, and this will be let's say you want to do beauty adjustment. Okay, then you can do it here. All right. In this order. All right, so let's, or you know, actually, let's just change this to additional. Let's just do this for. Let's just change this to global or no, not dynamic. All right, let's just change this to global adjustment, and then you'll have two of these. Sometimes you want an extra node in here, and it's kind of annoying to do. So that way, you guys just do this one time, and you're good to go. Okay, trust me. This is going to help you and your workflow a ton. All right, there we go. So now you've got a really nice organized node tree. That's what we call it. And here's your color mixer. You can just bring this up, and looks a little bit nicer. All right, so now you can grab your cursor and go right here and just do grab still. And now it's just taking a snapshot of how everything's laid out. So notice we have not applied anything to these. This is just the template. Okay, you can do more looks later on as you progress throughout your project. You'll want to save certain changes you've done and different looks for each type of scene or shot, and then you'll create more stills from that. So stills is different than just a regular image in DaVinci. So it's more of just like a capture of your profile for this specific shot. So it grabs a template of all the settings you've set up for that specific node tree for this shot. So go ahead and go right here and right click and hit change label, and we're going to just call this template. You can just put your initials and then template. So AK template for me. Okay, or AK color template. Okay, let's just call it AK template. Okay. All right, now we've got our template, and let's see. Let's import another shot. Okay. Notice how it put this timeline thing here. Click and drag your timeline files and just put it on the master. That way it's not in some random folder, you can't find it later. So now you can just go to here, and here's your timeline. All right. Now beware, because your timeline settings are different than your project settings. So make sure they're matching. So right click here on timeline and click timeline settings. Make sure they are the same. So right now it says use project settings, but sometimes you want to change this. All right. So make sure it's in the same, like if you're going, whenever you're going to export in 4K, make sure that it's 4K here and 4K in the project. All right. So let's go ahead and add another B-roll shot, another footage file. And we're going to go here, look at our footage, and let's click this exterior shot. All right, so we're just going to double click here and pick our in and out points. Let's just pick our in and out points. Okay, just slightly by the bush here. Tapping O a couple times here, and boom, right there. O, click O again, and there you go. So that's a good little shot. Okay, so now go ahead and click on it here, and then open your color tab, and then okay, and then just find the clip, all right? And there'll be a slider right here to so if you have a ton of clips, it goes beyond here, you'll be able to scroll. So now, see, notice our node tree is gone. Okay, you just have that one node again. See, you would have to redo all of that we just did to have a proper node tree again. But luckily for you, if you followed my instructions, my directions, my advice, you have this right here. So go ahead and right click this and apply grade. All right, and that'll be as easy as that. Apply grade, boom, your node tree is there, your template is there. So you don't want to do to every shot right off the bat, because I'll show you, because you'll want to save certain looks as you go, and then you can just apply them across your entire footage, and you don't have to do a color grade over and over for each shot, because that would take forever. So go ahead and right click here and reset all grades, and let's just go back to our first shot and just start grading this. All right, and just click here and just get a good enough shot where you can see the sky, you can see the frame, what elements you're going to be working with. Don't go up and get a really tight shot, because it may turn out different. So just about here. All right, so let's start here with grain. All right, go to favorites. All right, okay, well, see here it's different in the color pane. The favorites don't really transfer. So let's go in here and add some favorites. Okay, let's see, flicker, removal, I don't see here, dehaze. Okay, dehaze is helpful. So there's more stuff in here than the regular timeline effects, that's why. Okay, halation, light rays, beauty filter, face refinement, there's relight, depth map. Depth map will eat your computer, so just careful with that one. It is really awesome, but very intense. There's deflicker. Okay. noise reduction, sharpen, sky replacement is very good. Sky replacement, vignette, tilt shift. Okay. Film grain, yes, that's what we're looking for. All right, and maybe camera shake, maybe. Let's see, depending on. All right, I think that's it for the most part for now. Okay. Yep, that's all we need. All right, so go ahead and now, instead of searching for everything again, just go ahead and hit favorites, and boom, there we go. So just scroll down and find film grain. So click and drag and drop. Boom, you've got your grain. Let's go down to 35 millimeter. And then, you know, sometimes you want to show more grain, more grit. I don't recommend going to 100%, just, you know, unless that's what you want. But generally, you know, 40 to 80 is okay. Okay, somewhere in there. So maybe for this, let's do 0.6, just add a little bit more. Okay, you can zoom in here and start to see it. You can click right here on the number and it will toggle it on and off. Okay, so you can see the changes. There's an off, there's an on. Okay, and just so for compression sake, you can see it a little bit more. Let's go ahead and just go to like 990 or something. There you go. So now you're able to see more of the grain. But remember, later on we're going to sharpen. Okay, so this will look even more grainy. So just that's why you want to kind of just find a good medium and then just see what it looks like later. If you want more grain later, then you can always turn this up a little bit more. But generally 0.6 will, once you sharpen it, it looks fairly good. All right, let's go ahead and zoom back out. All right, so now we've chosen our either noise reduction or film grain. In this case, we're adding grain. Okay, if it's a low light shot with a lot of already just camera noise that we're trying to remove, then you'll do noise reduction. All right, and then you can always even do noise reduction and then add some grain, you know, and that's even a better look because, you know, it ends up looking kind of too soft after that. Well, then you can add some grain on top of that and it's a, you know, it's a happy medium and it'll look better. So, all right, moving on to the next node. So white balance, exposure. All right, so either you have a slate, color sticks, or a white balance card, you know, and then find the frame where the white balance card is at, or, you know, in this case, I don't have a white balance card in this shot, so we're just going to use the sidewalk as our sidewalk or house. So it just depends, you know, just see what looks better for your shot. But generally you want to have a white balance card or color sticks or a slate with color sticks. So click your node and then you automatically have the color picker, but that's not going to do what you want it to do. Alright, so just go down to this guy here and grab your white balance color picker. Okay, so pick, you know, the color. So the more yellowish or orange type of white or gray you lean toward, it's going to overcompensate and make your white balance a little bit more blue, right? So, and the more blue you go, it's going to make your white balance a little bit more yellow. So you got to find a spot that's going to represent the closest true white or gray neutral that you can find. That's why you want a proper white balance card and stuff like that. But in this case, let's just see what looks the best for our image. with what we got. So, all right, so we've clicked here, and it's given us a little bit more of a cool tone. All right, so let's grab this one, and then grab one that's already more cool, and just see what happens. See, oh, it's giving us more of a warm tone. So it depends what look you're going for. This will affect your image from the very beginning. So you want to, you know, be decisive and commit to the look kind of early on. So I'm thinking for this, I want this to be kind of a more warm and inviting video. So I don't want it to look like we're in the Twilight Zone or anything like that, and cold, and just, you know, the architecture we're working with is already kind of that stucco concrete look a little bit. So let's pull away from that, and just, this is a home we're working with here. So let's philosophically just warm things up, and that way it's the video comes across more, it connects with our audience a little bit more, you know, because they're searching for their home. All right, they want to be happy, and we're selling happiness here. So let's get them feeling a little warm and fuzzy. We don't want them to feel like cold and disconnected. So let's go with the wall. You know, let's get a white balance off of the wall that's fairly warm. So look, this one actually was a little bit more magenta. So, oh, that's a little bit more green. Okay, that's a little red. Okay, let's just undo, and go back to that first one that we had. That looked nice. Yeah, this is good. All right, white balance and exposure. All right, so let's get our, you know, if you have a third monitor, you can get a full screen color chart set up. But for now, because we're recording on a screen here, let's just get the regular histogram up in this window here. So we've got our scopes here. So generally you want to keep your gain or highlight level at 800. So for cinematic purposes, and we're above that. We're almost clipping. You know, it's a bright day, a bright sunny day. So let's bring, for exposure wise, let's bring the exposure down. So this is our offset. This is where you control the exposure right here in the color primaries. All right, so we're going to scroll down right here, and this will offset our exposure. Bring everything down just a bit. Okay, so it's in the middle. Okay, we're not crushing the blacks. We're not peaking. We're not hitting the ceiling, so to speak, at the top. So that adjusted our exposure. All right, overall. So moving on. So pre-log. So these will be incremental color changes, and you won't know where you want this just yet. Just, it's good to have that way, like later on, if you want to make changes before your LUT and your look, you can, because sometimes it's better to make those changes here on this side of the node tree versus on this side. So we're not gonna pick our look just yet. All right, let's just go through the screen here. That way you're not just overwhelmed with, there's a lot of different things going on here. So let's go ahead and go to our primaries. This is where most of your color stuff is going to take place, is here, and then obviously here. All right, so it'll be here, here, and then your final changes really to your look are here. Okay, these are all just finalizing steps. All right, so let's go to primary and just get our image dialed in. It will change once the LUT is in here. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and do that, you can just add your LUT in here and then make the changes. That's fine, but just so we can on this tutorial, we'll just go ahead and go into here so I can show you the color functions here so you understand how to use them. Then you can go back and change it because now you know how to do it. All right, so go to primary. So here's your gain. This will be the top end, your brights. Okay. So let's get these under 800. All right. So in your primary, that's where you make the changes. Don't do it here in exposure. You just do the offset here, and then gain changes here. So bring this down and get this down to about here. Okay. All right. And then, because then also your gamma is going to be your middle. So let's go ahead and increase the gamma. All right, because now look, see, it's brightening up, but it's slightly moving the gain just a little bit. So that's why you want to bring it down, because it's going to go up. So now you can bring it back down even more. Boom, there you go. Now we've brightened up our image, and we've decreased the brightness of the highs. We've brought in that range back into the picture. That information has been pulled down, and now it doesn't look so hot. It doesn't look so glaring, right? It's a balanced image. And later on, we can adjust this, and you'll see once we finalize it. But now we've got more dynamic range to work with. All right, we're just doing it in this order, so you know what you're working with, and you're doing it in the right steps to maintain quality. All right, so now we've got our images balanced. Now we've pulled up the gamma, but now our blacks down here have also slightly pulled up. So now you go here to the lift, and you go down, and you want to crush this a little bit, not all the way. So see, now we've brought it down, and these are almost starting to touch. Okay, so get it as close as possible without touching. Okay, we'll do that here on this node, and we'll use a different approach. Okay, so now our primary is done for the most part. Secondary, you may need this later if you're using a LUT and more advanced techniques here. Okay, then this will come in handy. But for now, let's just skip over it. So log is going to be your log wheels, and that's different than your color primary. So these move the image fairly fast. All right, you barely have to move these, and then it does the changes. All right, so to make more incremental changes and target different zones of the color spectrum, we're going to go to our log wheels, and that's right here. Okay, so now you notice you have shadow, midtone, and highlights in here. But these are going to move a lot slower, and target different parts of the color spectrum. Not exactly the same parts as the primaries. All right, so here's where you dial in your look even more. Okay, so right now we don't have a look. All we're doing is just balancing the image. Okay, and then we're going to go in and create our look, and then make changes here. All right, so here's global adjustment, final adjustment. So generally here, let's say this, we can do beauty work. If there's a person in the shot and you want to increase their looks and smooth out their skin, and then bring texture back in, and it looks really natural, and then you can add that here. Okay, but we're not doing that right now. If you want to add depth maps, you can do it here. Okay, if you want to add light rays, halation, you could do it here. Okay, if you want to add dehaze, you can do it here. Okay, we're not doing any of that right now. So let's go ahead and add final adjustment. You can add sharpen to any one of these, final or global. Okay, so just do sharpen here. It starts off real by default kind of high. Okay, so just bring it down to like 1.3, so it's not over sharpened, and then just barely move these. Okay, just like this. Okay, and that's generally pretty good right there. And then you can blend it more if you control how the amount it's doing it here too. So there, now we've sharpened our image, and now we're ready to crush the blacks. Okay, let's bring these down. Go to black level, and you're going to use your log wheels for this. Okay, so just make sure you're in log and not in primaries and lift. Okay, you want to go to log, so you're targeting specific parts of this. So go here to your log wheels, and then go left and bring down. Look at the chart, the color chart. Okay, you're gonna bring down. Oh, whoops. Okay, there we go. See it. Okay. Okay, see, now we're starting to crush the blacks a little bit. You can see it. Okay, so we're looking at bringing this part of the reds down into here. That's what it looks like. That's when it starts actually crushing. Okay. And, you know, use your best judgment. Use your monitor. Make sure you got your monitor going and it's calibrated and stuff like that. All right. But you can trust the charts usually more than the monitors. So here it looks crushed, not over crushed, but it looks good. You got some good contrast. Okay. So now let's go ahead into our LUT and go ahead and apply LUT, and then start working with LUT. We've got a balanced image. It looks, it's clean. All right, and let's go ahead and our LUTs. Okay, you've got. Okay, I need to install my looks. Okay, so let's just go do that because I haven't showed you how to do that. All right, so go to project settings, color management, and you're going to go to open LUTs folder, and then here is where you're going to drag and drop. So I know there's some random stuff out here, but for the most part, use folders. So I believe I have, here's my LUTs. Okay. So I'm going to drag and drop these. And put these here. So make sure you're adding and not just moving them. Hit the plus sign and you're copying. And there you go. This could take a little while, so just be patient. And then we'll hit update lists once you're done transferring, and that could take a little while too. All right, so just be patient with it. You could also just do this separately and then just reload DaVinci Resolve and it'll load them up. So you don't have to do it this way. You can just close out and open back up and they'll be there. All right. It says 4 minutes, but I think it's moving faster than that. $14 gigs worth of LUTs. There's a lot of LUTs. All right. While we're waiting for this to transfer, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think might find it useful. I'd greatly appreciate it, and that way I can keep doing this and grow the channel.
A few moments later.
Alright, so now it's there. Let's go ahead and close this out and clean up by name. There we go. So now hit update lists. It's already detecting changes, so just be patient and let this load. While I'm waiting for this to load, I noticed that vignette is here. You can add vignette right here in final adjustment, global, any of these here. That would be fine. Okay, so now let's hit update lists. Just click it once, that's it, and just let it load. So like the deflicker and sky replacement, any of these all can go here. Alright, so there we go. It's updated, it finished loading. Just go ahead and hit save. Alright, we've got our LUTs loaded. Let's check them out. Boom. LUT collections. Alright, there we go. Let's get a nice warm look going. So let's think about a movie that has a warm look. Let's see. Limitless, that had a warm look. Limitless. NZT. Street, Limitless Street, NZT, medium shot. All right. So once you apply your LUT, you can see it's very. Sometimes it can be subtle, and that's good. You've got some to work with. So let's hit. Make sure you're in the LUT setting, and then go to here, and here's your gain. So once you're on this LUT setting, this is how you control how much of the LUT is coming through. So sometimes it's too strong, but you still want to be able to use it, and it's still foundational. So make sure you're on the LUT, and then click this to see 1.0, so maybe half, 0.5. There you go. But in this case, this LUT's not that strong, so let's just go back to just 1. All right. And now that we're getting more into color, let's go ahead and change this to our vector scope, and let's get this set up. This is very, very important for color grading, if not more than just the histogram or parade. This is one of the top things for color. So notice this up here. It says R, M, B, C, G, Y. Can you guess what that's about? Okay, so this is red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta. All right. So, but look how small our view of this is. Let's go here to these settings. Go ahead and 2x zoom this so we know what we're doing. All right, look, now it's much bigger. Now we can see more of what's going on. Go ahead and click show skin tone indicator. Boom, now we've got our skin tone line, which is very important. So now we know where we are on this color chart. And extents, that kind of helps too. There we go. And that's it. All right. So now we can kind of see what's going on. We've got a little teal going on, a little orange, and we've got a little bit of green going on. So I think it's a little too green. Let's go ahead and go more towards and go to the primary or secondary here, and I want the gamma to be more of that look, that warm look that Limitless had. Okay, so we're gonna take our gamma and go more towards the orange here, and you'll see it affect here. It'll be moving towards this way. Okay, so this is where perfect skin tone would be. So and then you may want to spin this a little bit. So let's do that real quick. Okay, let's adjust here. Another offset change here. Let's do our hue change right here. And Okay, now let's do it here. Okay, hue. So now it's spinning. You see how it's spun? Okay, boom. That's looking nice. Alright. And now let's move our gamma. Okay, let's try the different LUT real quick. Let's just see what the other one for limitless NZT does. Okay. Extreme wide. Limitless start. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Wow, that really does something to it, huh? Got a lot of green, more green going on now. So we can offset this just a little bit. Okay, it's a little too extreme now. So let's go in here and change this to like 0.8, just 20% less. There we go. Now our highlight's looking a little red. So let's go into gain and make it a little more warm instead of red. And then our gamma was looking a little too green, so now we're going to counter it with some magenta. And now it's looking nice. It's looking nice. Okay. Wow. Okay. Alright, so little trick. You just kind of get it into a frame you want, and then you can toggle this and it'll show you before and after. Bypass all color, all changes, and then turn it back on. Look, so we went before and then after. Okay, before and then after. Look at that. Nice. So before you get too far ahead, I mean, we've already done quite a lot. Let's go ahead and set up our CST LUT. Okay, this is going to make sure all the changes we're doing is going to look exactly when we export. And also, if you want to change it into a different color space later on, you can. So go ahead and do color space transform right here. And then, we're using the DaVinci color space here. You don't have to change any of these, just change right here to Rec 709. Okay, that's what all the most TVs and iPhone and everything uses. Okay, see, we've got a little bit more work to do. All right, let's go back and make these changes. Alright, so we're going to go back to Parade and see what's happened. See, now it's kind of messed with our image a little bit. Okay, so let's bring down the gain a little bit. It's gone higher. Okay. Boom, there. And let's bring down our lift. There we go. And bring down our gamma just a bit. Just a little bit. Alright. So we've got limited color space now to work with, so that's why it's looking a little different. So let's go ahead and do a dehaze over here. Boom, that's a little too much, but split the difference. Okay, I think we've got a little too much gray now. Let's just go ahead and dial this back to 0.5. Okay. And instead of a little bit more dehaze, let's just bring in some contrast here, secondarily. There we go. And let's lift our blacks just ever so slightly. Okay. That's looking better. Okay. Alright, just some tweaks and changes, but you guys get the idea. Alright, so now we are ready to save this look. And this is our first version of this look. It will change as we go, and you'll dial this in even more. But overall, we've got our node tree with some effects and color changes attached to each node in the proper order. Okay, so now right click, just like we did the template, grab still, and now go ahead and change this label to just label it something you're going to remember, and it's short and sweet. So let's just do outdoor or exterior, like exterior 1 or exterior sun 1. Okay, there we go. Now we can know at a glance this is our look. So see, now you can go here. Okay, let's go to this shot. And now you've got this right here. Look, you can just hover over it and it'll preview it. Okay, now just go right click and apply grade. Boom. Look at that. Now let's go back to our timeline. See, we've got a look going. Let's open this up. See, now we've got more space to work with. And there, our windows are maximized. And go ahead and click this, and then do stabilization on this one. I think this one needs it a little bit more than the other one did. All right. So we've got a little intro going here. So we're going to try this similarity one and see if that looks better or not. That was better, but I think it needs a little bit more. Let's try now. Okay. just shorten it. I think the first part is just not working. Okay. Alright, that was better. Alright, so see that I'm going to cut to the beat right here. There we go, that's what's going on. It's not. Yeah, it's fine. You don't even need the stabilization. It was just a little off there. Okay. Boom. And then here, let me show you a quick little trick. So you can go here, click this, and you know, so if you have some effects, you can cache the audio effects, and also make sure you're in stereo. Go click here, stereo, boom, boom, and fix that. But for the most part, I think this is a nice little intro here. Alright, so we've got two clips. Got a rough color grade going. Alright. So now, let's just say we're going to go ahead and render this out. You just hit O wherever the last part of your video is going to be. So whether it's here, and you've done all this work already, or here, then just hit O, and it'll select that, your timeline. And now just go to deliver and set up your settings here. So I'm going to show you how I do my export presets. And you've got different settings you can do here that it's easy and fast. But if you want some dialed in YouTube or social media settings, I'm going to show you how. I've got to set up mine fresh since this is a freshly formatted machine. I don't have everything on here, so we're going to make our own preset so you guys get to watch. So for YouTube, we're going to use QuickTime H.264. Okay, let's go ahead and do the 4K. All right. We'll do chapters for markers. Alright. And then you can go back here and hit M for marker and go and so forth. Okay, like right before, just put markers wherever there's things going on in your video people can jump to. Okay, so going back to deliver, see now you can see their markers here. And you can name them, okay, but we're not going to get into all that right now. So, color settings, make sure you're in Rec 709. Rec 709. Okay. That will make sure everything looks just like it does in here online and on people's phone and everything. So, we're going to use optimized media, use render cached media, force the bear to the highest quality. Okay, subtitles, export, and you're going to want these embedded, and there you go. That's just a good default to have. You can export them burned in where they're actually physically on the video, but we're not going to do that on this, but you can. Alright, so there, we've got that. So now let's set up our entropy mode and CABAC, and then our bitrate for YouTube is going to be 80,000. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, but YouTube did start accepting higher bitrate for 4K. It used to be maximum only 40 back in the day, 40,000, and now, or 40 megabytes, and now it's 80 or 80,000 kilobyte per second. So this is going to ensure that you have the best quality possible, and your videos look as good as everyone else's does on YouTube that's doing good content, and you're going to be happy with this. So once people click on that 4K setting, it will unleash all these high bit rate, and if they have a good internet connection, they're going to be able to see your videos in an amazing quality. Alright, so we're on the export mode, so now let's go to the audio side. So YouTube does do I believe the 24-bit or the 16-bit. Social media is for sure only 16-bit. So let's just do that. We'll leave it at that. And file. On some systems, you don't want to do the maximum render speed because it could maybe crash your system. I don't know how fast your system is. So just so you have no issues, I would do maybe 75, 50%, or maybe even 5 or 10% depending on your system. So on this computer, let's just go hit 75. Alright. Alright. And I think that's it for now. I think that this is pretty much how you want a good YouTube export. We'll just say YouTube export. Oh no, we'll just file name. So file name project bit rate here. There you go. That's how I like to name my projects. And so let's save this as a template and pick a name that's short and sweet you can have on here. So click here, the three dots, save as new preset. We're going to name this YT 80 4K. Okay, or YouTube 4K 80 MBS. There we go. And hit OK. And there we go. See, you can see it full name. It didn't truncate the text. It didn't give it those little dots. You can see the whole thing on here. Short and sweet, YouTube 4K 80 megabits. That's all you need to know. And so now you've got this up here. You can just click on this and get this every time. And all you have to do is just change your project name, your file name, and right here, and you've got it. So let's practice that. Let's hit browse and pick where it's going to go. Let's just keep this on here, but your project will be different. You know, let's say real estate video 4K 80 MBS V1. There you go. V1 rough. Okay, that's how I like to do the very first one, V1 rough. Unless it's client facing, then maybe just V1. Okay, or if you want to let them know, hey, this is the rough cut, then you know you can do that too. Alright, so hit save and go ahead and hit add to render queue, and then boom, it moves over here and you've got your render queue. So but notice that it's 1080, right? So You can go, what's cool is you can go back in here, click this, hit this little pencil, and it'll edit what you've got here. So let's go ahead and change this to 4K. It's going to pop up a menu. It's going to say, are you sure? Because your timeline's not in 4K. Remember, we haven't gone back and done that yet. So go to 3840, and then now you're going to go hit an update. See, add higher resolution renders, right? And it's giving you a warning. Hey, it's not going to turn out how you think, you know. Okay, just add anyway, and then go back to your project here. Go to your project settings, change everything to 4K, because remember, we're about to render, you know. It's different when you're working in 4K versus just trying to render 4K. Okay, so especially when you have a full timeline and all these color stuff going on. So now we've hit 4K, hit save, and then go to your media pool, make sure it's 4K here too. Alright, timeline settings. Okay, it's showing 4K, and you can just double make sure. Okay, and then you know you can change it to vertical resolution and stuff here. So, but we're just gonna make sure it's in 4K. Hit OK. All right. So now everything's 4K, and you know, because we're working natively in ProRes, we don't need to do pre-rendering right at this moment. But if you wanted to, you know, turn on the render cache, you can do that by just going here, smart. And now, boom, you've got this red line, right? So if your computer's struggling to play back your footage, go ahead and hit deliver, and then go to the very beginning and hit spacebar and let it go frame by frame, all right? And you can mute the audio right here. Well, not mute there, but you know, you can mute your audio so you don't have to hear it going frame by frame. Okay, you can here it is. Just turn this down, but don't forget this is down, because you'll forget, and then you'll figure out, you think something's wrong later, and it's on. So go to the big. So it's already rendering frames. So this computer's, you know, it's all right. It's decent. So, and in blue, it means it's good to go. So just go ahead and hit spacebar, and it's gonna render. Okay, hold on. Actually, let me show you this. So make sure you've highlighted this and go to render colors cache, render cache color output. Boom. So it's gonna take account all the color effects, everything you've done in color, and put that into the render cache. Okay, so whenever you're doing a big project, this is important. So much you want to be able to capture it can render render process as possible. So go ahead and render any effects too. Okay, and then right click here and then cache audio effects too. Okay, there you go. Now everything's getting cached. Look at that. Oh, and don't even have to put spacebar, but you know, it's good to just go ahead and play through. This is the screen where you can do the pre-render. Make sure all your frames are buttery smooth. Okay. And that's it. Spacebar, you're done. Now, you know, I like to save every little step. So Command S, boom, we've saved our project. All right. And I like to save it every time we pre-render or generate optimized media. Any incremental but monumental step I like to save. Okay. So now go back to edit. And now highlight everything. You can do Command A, or just highlight everything and do generate optimized media. So now it's going to generate the highest quality version of this before you've even exported. So that when we go to export, it'll use your render cache data, it'll use your optimized media data, it'll make your export a lot faster and the most high quality. So this could take a little while depending on how much footage you have, so be patient. Boom. Okay, it's done. It's generate optimized media. We have everything pre-render. We have it generated optimized media. So now we're ready to deliver. Okay, so that's what this is for. So we're using this and we're using this, and we're forcing the highest quality. All right, now I like to save here too. This is a good spot to save. Command S right before a render. Okay, and just click here, and it's the same settings. Okay, this is nothing new. Everything's up to date on our render, and just go ahead and hit render all, or just render all, or just hit this, and it'll just render. So look how fast it's going through the timeline, because we've done all the legwork in the pre-render and optimized media. And look, it's 30 seconds. Okay, it's a short video. Okay, but you get the idea. That's how you get the fast render, the reliable render. And we're not even at maximum speed. Okay, you can even turn it up even higher. But I don't want to overwork the system. It's plenty fast already. I don't want to skip any frames or anything like that. Go ahead, let this render out, and it's utilizing both video cards. So that's what's nice. If you have a system with multiple video cards, DaVinci will let you use them, and it will use them for your render, as opposed to Premiere or other editing systems. And that's it. All right, and hit save. Go ahead and hit save, because we've got our render job complete in here. I like to keep those in there. And that's it for the most part. So to view your mixer for audio purposes, click here, and then go to Fairlight. And here, now we've got our mixer room. And to automate, music, and we could go down and up if you've got voiceover or A-roll, somebody talking. You just go here to fader level, the pencil, and now you can click here and click certain points wherever you want to make changes at, and then get the mouse and just move this around however you want to where it fits. Usually I personally like to go to -12 or -18, depending how exciting I want the music to be in the background. So, you can go down to -18 for more corporate, or, something a little bit more exciting. So then, and then make sure you're going to the same levels, and you've got a flat bottom, and that way you can go here and just adjust it together like this. Okay, so go to -18. That's a good spot. So boom, intro, and then this is where your dialogue would be right here. Okay, and then boom, break, B-roll, montage, goes up. Music kicks in, boom, and then guess what? It comes back down. Someone else is going to talk, and it's coming back down. Okay, and so forth. And then you can make it climb back up at the end, or however you want. Okay, but this is how you automate your levels. All right, so that's pretty much it. So okay, so let's go here. I'm going to explain these here. So here's your EQs. So let's click this. This is a music track. Okay, there's no dialogue. So for dialogue, just go here to EQ. This is assuming you don't have any of the plugins I have. Okay, this is just the stock stuff that's built into DaVinci. You go dialogue male, dialogue female. If it's a lav, then use the lav one. Okay, and then do that for that one. Okay, and then go to the other channel and then do this for the music. So for this one, it's just music. So we're in channel 1. Channel 1. Go ahead and do the music pumper one. So music top master, or actually go to dynamics right here for the music one. See, music pumper, and this is where the dialogue compression is too. So go ahead and do music pumper. Boom, it's just a little something. And then if you have any effects, go ahead and click here. All right, restoration. Here's our RX stuff. All right, so declip. I like to use declip, DS, dehum, dereverb. Okay, dialogue isolate, voice denoise. That I use voice denoise a lot. Okay, so there's that. And here's our favorites. So this is nice. All right, so that's all we're gonna use for this. And then here's our bus. So this is our main channel out. So you can also add effects on your main channel out. So for mastering, there's these, and then we got our favorites here. So maybe capital mastering compressor, that's good for the final one. Or if you have Shadow Hills, that'd be awesome. So, there's our mastering compressor. And here we go. And then, so this will be different whatever you guys are using, but this is what I like to use. Let's go to clean, and we can set up our favorites here too. So just clean capital is nice. Okay. Let's go to clean capital, save that. All right, get a little boost, a little something. All right, and this is how you turn off the effects. So if you got a ton of these channels going, you can toggle them on and off, so you can hear your playback. So we're gonna leave that on, and yeah, so and here you can watch your channels, your levels right here. Adjust this. But see, you won't be able to adjust this one because we've already automated. We've put in some automation with the fader levels. So see, look, it's going up on its own. All right. And then if we want to output a little bit more, we can go to our compressor here, output a little bit more. Notice, there we go. It's not clipping. And then you can do a limiter or anything or something like that. Okay. All right. And that concludes our walkthrough for DaVinci Resolve. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. And, don't be shy. Come say hi to me on Instagram at Alex J. Kinter. And on Facebook too, facebook.com/Alex J. Kinter. And hit me up on X or Twitter at Alex J. Kinter. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'm going to be doing a full edit session on the next video. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And we'll go more into this real estate video. But for now, I just wanted to establish a workflow for DaVinci Resolve. Get you guys set up and going so you can work on your own projects and maybe use some of my methods and tell me your results. See what you like and tell me what works. Tell me if you found something new that's cool. I'd love to hear. But that's it for now. So until next time, my friends, Thanks for watching, and have the best week ever. Cheers.